Hello, everyone. Today is a very special episode. This is about the top 10 ABBA songs, my personal list. But this episode is even more special because we have a very special guest. This is Henry from the UK. He runs a PR agency. He's a keen musical enthusiast and he's making appearances on YouTube. I got to know Henry a few years ago when I got invited. He created a Zoom group, the Beatles Zoom, discussing the Beatles, and they even interviewed some key persons connected to the Beatles. And Henry and I, the two of us, we actually met last year for the very first time in England. And it is a pleasure and honor to have you here on the channel. Welcome and hello, Henry from the UK.
Bobby's brother, thank you so much for inviting me on your channel. I will say I'm a devoted follower of your videos because you discuss the thing in the world that just goes right to my heart, and that is the history and output of one of the greatest musical groups of all time, and that is ABBA. So I'm thrilled to be here, and thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you. And I can see a most beautiful backdrop on your screen.
Yes,
Of
it's
course.
got special significance for me, this, and I know for you, you've done a video on it. So behind me is what I call ABBA in the snow. This is a picture taken during the reunion sessions for Voyage, and it means so much. When I saw that picture, there's something perfect about it. They're smiling, they're making contact with each other, they're getting on, they're here with us, they've survived. It just tells a thousand words. I think the story of being in ABBA wasn't at all easy for members of the group, especially late on. I think we all know that. And this photo is an incredible story of human reconciliation and love. And it just means so much to me. So much so, I have it next to my bed.
Oh, hmm. We have something in common here.
We
Uh,
really do, Bobby's brother. Absolutely.
those were beautiful words. And before we start with our top 10, and we will change, I will begin with my top 10. I will give you your top 10, number 9, 8, 7, and so on. Before we start, I think it would be interesting for those who are watching right now. What was your story with ABBA or your introduction? How you got to know their music?
Well, it was a kind of special moment at a football ground. So let me just go back a little bit. I just remember watching ABBA win Eurovision on TV, which was obviously at Brighton in the UK. I wasn't blown away by it. I thought their costumes were a little bit naff because I was into Bowie and Slade and other glam rock groups, and I thought they were slightly behind the trend. But there they are. They won Eurovision with a terrific song. But then they disappeared because commercially they just couldn't cut through with another song. They tried releasing Ring Ring, didn't work. In 75, they released the album called ABBA, but most of us in the UK didn't buy that album because this strange thing appeared called ABBA's Greatest Hits. So this is the greatest hits of a group we've hardly heard of. Oh, they're the ones who won Eurovision a couple of years ago. That ABBA album has, I think, four singles that are on the greatest hits. And then they released this rather wonderful work called SOS in September 75. And I'm at a football match with my dad and brother. The football match, I should say, is Bristol Rovers, for all those Bristol Rovers fans who watch your channel. It's half time, and over the loudspeakers at the stadium in Bristol, they always played music. They play SOS over the loudspeakers, and I hear Agneta's voice, and I hear this incredible, sad, happy, it's a cliche, quality in this song. And it just mesmerizes me. I'm just completely lost in that moment, and I'll never forget it. And my brother bought Greatest Hits, and we'd feast listen to it all the time. And that album means so much. Of course, it's not available anymore because there were so many more hits after that. But Greatest Hits is my introduction to ABBA, and the first moment where they got emotional impact with me was SOS.
Wow, that's a beautiful story. I'm curious if that will be in your top 10.
You never know, it might squeeze in there somewhere.
Before we start, and we will right away, you are also a keen photographer, and your Instagram channel is henry.hemming. So if you guys would like to watch his photography or contact Henry for appearances on YouTube, for musical exchange, there you go on Instagram.
Yeah, I'd love to to hear from anyone. I'm a keen street photographer and landscape photographer, and yeah, get in touch. But lovely to be here.
It's a pleasure for me as well. And we will start with our number 10. I will go right into it. It couldn't be more fitting, actually. My number 10 comes from 1975, and it's the song SOS. We didn't talk about this before
We
at
did
all.
not.
No. Um, the first line, where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find. Only this first line, even without the context of the remaining lyrics, everyone at some point in their lives will go through these feelings. And whatever they go through. So this song got you from the first moment, even with that incredible piano intro leading into this first line. Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find. And it's not even they are so hard to find. It is they seem so hard to find.
Yeah.
So it's almost hopeless. That's even worse. It's that feeling of uncertainty. And I think just this first line alone is one of Björn's masterful lines in lyrics. And the way Agneta sings it, the way that she leads us through the song, this has to be, for me, one of Agneta's top lead vocal performances. I can highly recommend her interpretation in Swedish for the song's Swedish language version as well. This was released in 1975, in the same year, and she sings it just as beautiful in her own language. And then there is also a German version of the song, sung by Lena Andersson, which is this Swedish woman. And it also uses ABBA's original backing track. And I've got to mention this version as well, because I think this one is sung terrifically, hauntingly beautiful as well. But this song, SOS, going back to ABBA's version, it has strong verses, strong chorus, great guitars, great atmosphere, gorgeous third voice together with Frida. I feel that everything is just perfect here. The singing, the music, the lyrics. Again, the whole set of lyrics is one of Björn's masterful lyric writing, I think. The way he describes that contrast of being close yet distant. You seemed so far away, though you were standing near. You made me feel alive, but something died, I fear. And the first verse, whatever happened to our love, I wish I understood, is changed somewhat in the second verse. Whatever happened to our love, it used to be so good. It's heartbreaking. That's my number 10. That's SOS.
Well, it's an extraordinary song, and it's early in ABBA's career, and yet it's almost the song that absolutely gets to the heart of how ABBA could do pop differently to any other act on the planet. So the melancholy is extraordinary, and yet there's this bump into the crescendo of the chorus. Like it's brilliantly produced by Michael B. Tretto, kind of double tracked and everything, but it's just so impactful and pounding. So, I think ABBA are quite a self-effacing band and they always let the music speak. But Benny did speak at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and he talks about the latitude on the world atlas that on which Sweden lies, and he talks about the dark snowy winters and the melancholy of the Swedish life, and other people on that latitude, like he talks of Sibelius, Grieg, and Greta Garbo. I mean, can you think of any other group in pop music history that have taken songs with melancholy at their core, but fashioned them into music that the world wants to listen to? And it's because of a kind of shared understanding with the listener that we're all in this together. We're all normal people, and we can cope with the challenges that our life gives to us. And I don't know if they do it almost any better than in SOS. It's quite extraordinary.
Mm.
I mean, this black and white. They talk about, yeah, you made me feel alive, but something died, I fear. They're talking about life and death within love stories. Extraordinary.
Right, right.
My number 10 is a song from 1976, which in an incredible run of ABBA singles didn't actually get to number one. It got to number three, and this is Money, Money, Money from Arrival. I think it's a very sweet, seemingly simple song. Actually, it's completely complex, and there are some musical patterns in it that throw you and are unexpected. There's a brilliant performance by Frida. The video is extraordinary. It's one of their best, I think. It's just endlessly memorable and catchy. And that's, yeah, Money, Money, Money. One of the great songs on this jam-packed Arrival album. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean, I think ABBA's high watermark is 75, 76. It's their output in those 2 years is just extraordinary. It's not to say that everything that they go on to do from then on isn't wonderful as well, but gosh, how those songs from that period are loved by people worldwide.
yeah, there was something coming together in this period, privately, artistically, which probably led to what you just referred to.
I
So,
think they were probably most in love as married couples. I think life was easier. I
mm,
think the stresses and strains of being this global phenomenon really, really did show later on in ABBA, but I'm sure we will come to that.
yeah, yeah. And I'm sure we will come to more picks from that album, Arrival. But my number nine comes from the Voulez-Vous album. And there's one song I chose from this album, and the song is called If It Wasn't for the Nights. There's something so joyful about the music of this song. And then one day, or actually it was one night, many years ago, I listened very closely. And for the first time, I realized the actual content of the lyrics. And it was devastating. I got appointments, work I have to do, keeping me so busy all the day through. I got my business to help me through the day, people I must write to, bills I must pay. But everything's so different when the night's on its way. And the chorus goes, somehow I'd be doing all right if it wasn't for the nights. If it wasn't for the nights, I think that I could make it. And there is some form of hope which is shattered right again in the same line. Even I could see a light if it wasn't for the nights. And then in those lyrics, there are even kind of foreshadowing lyrics to some of ABBA's last songs, like An Angel Passing Through My Room, One of Us. It's the lines, how I feel the time when shadows start to fall, sitting here alone and staring at the wall. And again, this ambiguity in these lyrics of this song, in these fears, it doesn't have to be about lost love. It can be about fear of those lonely nights, fear of loneliness in and of itself. But then the music of this song is so full of joy, of spirit. The joint lead vocals are such a strong force. And this song just makes you feel so good, despite the anxiety, despite the fear in its lyrics. And that music gives you so much optimism and hope, and it just goes on for 5 minutes. And I never felt this song was too long. I like how ABBA take their time with this song and give you more and more of this irresistible dose of hope against fears. And that's my number nine, If It Wasn't for the Nights.
Yeah, it's an immensely beautiful song and wonderful lyrics there. And I can completely see that choice. Yes, one of ABBA's best deep cuts, and there are so many of them on albums.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those deep cuts that made it into the top 10,
Yeah,
to be honest. Yeah.
lovely.
So what is your number nine, Henry?
So my number nine may be a bit of a kind of personal choice, just based on my kind of love affair with ABBA. But the first single I ever bought was The Name of the Game, and I'm nominating that for my number nine. It comes out in October '77. By then, I have a big picture on my wall of Ben and Bjorn, Agnetha and Frida, big poster on my wall, which I mentioned to no one at school because I'm pretending to be a punk. But they meant so much to me. Kind of parental figures, I have to say, to some extent, which is why I think I was so delighted to see them back in the snow in the picture behind me. Anyway, to the name of the game. It's got a it's got a terrific bass line. I think it kind of picks up on kind of Detroit or New York grooves of the period. Great vocal. Um, it's got this kind of dark passion. Um, it is yet again, I think we should discuss this. It's this sort of women surviving in a sea of uncertainty, and is life just a game to the men? And I think, that SOS is similar, which is like somebody sort of surviving a panic attack, I think. Um, and you have to say, are the lyrics do they give sort of dominance to males over females in the lyrics? But I think Benny and Bjorn are pulling together songs that they believe will resound with the public. They're not writing songs that are meant to be Agnetha and Anna Frida talking about their actual lives. You know, okay, we'll get to the point of talking later about the breakup and ABBA coming to an end, and it did get intensely personal and really quite difficult. But I think this song is just about the challenges of, being a woman at that time in the world. And that's being communicated through the singer. So I don't think it's hugely autobiographical, but I think it works as a song. Musically, it's immensely memorable, and it's a great ensemble performance by ABBA, and I love it.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, Björn had to write those lyrics a bit
Um,
ambiguous as part of out of the movie as well to work in context of the film and the movie scenes. And he did that terrific. And I'm very glad you mentioned the bass line and the bass playing of this song, which was done by Rutger Gunnarsson in this case. We have to mention and honor ABBA's backing band. Those faithful musicians who did so much to shape the sound of ABBA on each song from the beginning till today, till Voyage, really, those who were left for that album.
Yeah.
And
The musical shape of ABBA is Benny. It's Benny's musical vision is there and stamped on every song. And it's when he allows his Scandinavian kind of folk and classical history to come to the fore that ABBA is at its most wonderful. But that is not to diminish Bjorn at all, because not only is he the songwriter, he's the person who works with Benny to shape it into something that's popular. I kind of get this feeling if Benny was left to go off on his own, he might shape something that is not going to be a hit. And Bjorn keeps bringing it back, and shaping it. So, they have a right to be mentioned alongside Lennon and McCartney.
there was even a section in the book, Complete Recording Sessions, I think, was discussing this phenomenon about that relationship between Björn and Benny. And Dretov was quoted as saying something like, if you had left Benny alone, he would still be sitting at that piano and trying out his ideas and shaping and forming the songs.
Yeah.
So this relationship is so important, so crucial. And that choice of yours is terrific because I think the name of the game is one of those terrific masterpieces of ABBA.
Yeah.
And it is my number eight.
Excellent.
Just
Excellent.
happens to be my number eight. I think it's really sophisticated in music, arrangement, the way of how they share and change lead vocals, the use of instruments. And when it comes to this song, you pointed it out. When you would ask me, what's this one genius thing about the name of the game? Why would I go as far as to say I would call this a masterpiece? There's one thing. It's because there is so much going on musically,
Yes,
but
exactly that.
it all works. It all holds together so brilliantly. And again, it's close to 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for the nights later, but it's that perfect package of a sophisticated pop song.
Yeah.
And that was 1977.
Yeah. Yeah. It's complex and everything works together. So this is going to be a bit of a surprise. And can I just say, when I say my number eight, Please don't turn off, everyone, and please do not unsubscribe from this brilliant YouTube channel because you're so angry with this outcome. This is just my personal feeling. Okay, it's a song I love. It's in my top 10, but at number 8, I am putting the probably ABBA's most kind of popular song worldwide, and that is Dancing Queen, uh, which I love. It's got some beautiful melodies. I think the singing in Dancing Queen between Agnetha and Anna Frida and that third voice that they produce, the soprano and mezzo soprano working together, is phenomenal. I think the musical parts by Benny are phenomenal. It's catchy. Everything about it is right. There's no real but. It's just perhaps it doesn't stay with me as long and it doesn't mean as much to me and it doesn't sort of tear me up as much as some of the others. But it's a beautiful song.
Yeah, there is something to this song. That might not be the last time we hear of this song today. My number seven is from the same album, is from the same year. Well, the single was released afterwards in 77 in January. It's Knowing Me, Knowing You. This is one of the finest ABBA songs ever, I think. And this also happens to be Benny's favorite, one of Benny's top favorite ABBA songs. He really likes not only the music, but the recording itself. And this song, the story, the atmosphere, the message, it's that deeply serious tone, this tone of finality, and it is set so terrifically to deeply moving music with a haunting lead vocal by Frida. And that's my number seven, Knowing Me, Knowing You from Arrival.
So great choice. It's in my list, so I will come back to it and maybe I'll give you some of my thoughts about it then. But
Sure.
what a wonderful ABBA song. And I think probably my favorite ABBA video of all, bar none.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you are mentioning the videos like you did before.
I mean,
And
on knowing me, knowing you, to film a separation in the snow, well, what could be a more bleak backdrop than a snowy waste? I mean, as a kid, I thought all of those movements where they kind of appear behind each other's shoulder and side onto the camera, I thought everything about it was cool. But it was literally cool because they filmed in the snow. How better to communicate breakup
and you
than
know what? They just happened to film this. It was like maybe across the street from their private homes. They just went into the field and filmed those scenes. I was just thinking about that the other day.
yeah,
They always made it efficient, cheap enough, but so effective in the end.
yeah.
Uh, I could imagine it had something to do with being convenient to Agneta, maybe as well, staying at home, being close to the family and the kids.
Yeah.
Um, but in the end, it is so effective. And all these uh, contrasts, you can also find it on the single as well on the B side, which is you have this snowy song, this darker song, and you got Happy Hawaii, the summer scenes, this early version of Why Did It Have to Be Me? It's a great contrast as well, I think. You'll find it so many times throughout ABBA's story, their songs and their output, these contrasts, and there's just something to that, I think.
So my number seven is an album track. It's from The Visitors, and I think probably just a good moment to sort of mention The Visitors here because I kind of having thought about it in recent days. Um, I think ABBA had this for me because I'm after the Swedish dark melancholia. They had this kind of high watermark in 75, 76 with those beautiful songs, some of which we haven't discussed yet. And I think in the late 70s, they were chasing chart success by listening to what was selling in the rest of the world and trying to kind of get into that groove with songs like kind of Voulez-Vous and Super Trooper and so forth. But amazing songs, and I may be mentioning them, but I think it's when they come back to the visitors under the considerable stress of Agnetha and Bjorn have broken up, and Benny and Frida are, I think, about to break up. Uh, and the group goes back to their roots with the visitors and say, what does ABBA want to do here? What is our sound? You know? And I've chosen from the Visitors, Slipping Through My Fingers,
Mm,
which is just one of the most beautiful songs imaginable. It's about the kind of inner heartbreak of kind of watching your children growing up, heading off to school, school bag in hand, and the wonderful line about kind of being unable to stop them from growing because every time you see them, they've grown a bit more.
mm,
Um, Beautifully written lyrics by Bjorn, but it's kind of back to core ABBA, I feel. It's not listening to the rest of the world. They're just saying, this is what we want to say. And it's there also in songs like When All Is Said and Done and so many other songs from the album.
right.
So Slipping Through My Fingers, God, I brings me close to tears every time I listen to it. It's so special.
Wow. I'm very glad you included the Visitors in our list and this song. I'm surprised at this pick. And Slipping Through My Fingers musically it's like a lullaby.
Yeah.
And it's terrific to have this song followed by basically another lullaby, like an angel passing through my room.
Which is, I mean, I could just as easily have chosen that, but they're two brilliant songs, and it's Benny and Bjorn with the music and lyrics, just saying this is what we care about. They're maturing as individuals. They've been through one hell of a lot, and they're just saying this is our passion. This is what we want to share with the world. Well, it's always brilliant when they do that.
Right. And the ladies as well on that album. I mean, they came together once again and one more time, despite being separated. Benny and Frida were separated already very early on during the sessions for the album. And
Okay,
and they made it through. And not only that they made it through, but they left this terrific masterpiece of an album, I think,
I
which
agree.
is my top favorite album. It's no
Yeah,
secret
it's
from
superb.
ABBA. It is superb. And that line in Slipping Through My Fingers is one of my favorite lines ever. Whatever happened to the wonderful adventures, the places I had planned for us to go, you know. And you can adopt it into any situation again
Yeah,
as well in your life, not
yeah.
only with children, with your partner or whoever person you lost. Terrific album and terrific choice. We will continue with number six, and that is a song may come as a surprise when I will introduce it now this way. When I listened to this song a few months ago, uh, out of the blue, this one brought tears to my eyes. And this never happened before with this song in 20 years. And you probably wouldn't assume a song this reaching such a level of emotion. This is from ABBA the album, and the song is Take a Chance on Me. I was so moved by the sheer joy, that brilliant shimmer of music, harmonies, words. Everything works on Take a Chance on Me. This incredible movement of pace in the song. It just keeps going. And this has always been a big favorite. But recently I realized once again why. And why it has to be in my top 10. That's number six, Take a Chance on Me.
It's incredibly easy for me to respond here because my number six is Take a Chance on Me.
Ah,
And I totally agree. It's such a clever song. It's so tight, so memorable, wonderful video. Um, it
yeah.
makes an amazing impact. It's got a wonderful bridge, and it's a kind of great play between the all the different members of the group. It's a beautiful pop song, this, rather than being through and through ABBA, but I never get bored of it.
No, never. And as you can see, 20 years later, suddenly it hits you once again. Not the only time that happened with a song by ABBA. In
Yeah,
that case, it hits you different for some reason in that moment.
yeah.
We got number 10 till 6. Unfortunately, we are running out of time for today. We will take a break, but we will be back with our number 5 till 1 next time. That's it for today. My choices for today were SOS, If It Wasn't for the Nights, The Name of the Game, Knowing Me, Knowing You, Take a Chance on Me. Henry, your first 10 till 6 were which songs?
They were Money, 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 The Name of the Game, Dancing Queen, slipping through my fingers, and at number six, Take a Chance on Me.
Great. I really love that variety, and it will be exciting to hear the rest of our list next time. Thank you very much, and I'll see you very soon. Take
See
care.
you.